What led a quiet student to commit one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history? How did Virginia Tech respond to such a tragic event? Dive into the heart-wrenching story of the Virginia Tech shooting, a tragic tale of loss and resilience. Sung-Hyu Cho, born in South Korea, moved to the U.S. seeking better opportunities. Despite academic success, his struggles with mental health were overlooked, leading to the horrific events of April 16, 2007. Discover how this tragedy unfolded and the reforms that followed. Subscribe for more in-depth analysis and stories that matter. Sung-Hyu Cho, born on January 18, 1984 in South Korea, moved to the United States with his family in 1992. They initially lived in Maryland but soon settled in Centreville, a suburb of Fairfax County near Washington, D.C. His parents sought better educational opportunities for their children. Despite this, young Cho was exceptionally shy and withdrawn, rarely communicating, a trait that concerned his family throughout his life. A governor's review panel investigating the tragic shootings and their aftermath noted that Cho might have been traumatized by a cardiac procedure at the age of 3. This event possibly led to his aversion to physical touch from that point forward. Cho's physical health improved, but he remained silent and withdrawn. Overcoming cultural and language barriers, his mother sought help from a multicultural counseling center in 1997, just before he started 7th grade. In April 1999, after the Columbine High School shooting, Cho wrote a disturbing paper in 8th grade expressing a desire to replicate the event, raising concern. He was diagnosed with selective mutism and major depression and prescribed an antidepressant for a year. At Westfield High School, Cho thrived with support, graduating with a 3.52 GPA and participating in an honors program. Despite concerns, Cho enrolled at Virginia Tech in fall 2003. Initially majoring in business information systems, he switched to English by the next autumn. Encouraged by a professor, he submitted a novel proposal in spring 2005, which was rejected. This deepened his depression, as noted by psychiatry expert Aradhana Bella Sood, who found that while treatment helped, his anxiety and selective mutism persisted. In his fragile emotional state, Cho became highly susceptible to stress. By autumn 2005, his alarming behavior included disturbing actions in class, unsettling interactions with female students, and violent writings. On December 13, 2005, after telling a suitmate, "I might as well kill myself now," Cho was evaluated by the New River Valley Community Services Board. The suitmate alerted Virginia Tech police, prompting the evaluation. Cho had previously been warned by police to avoid contacting a student who was alarmed by his behavior, including leaving a Romeo and Juliet verse on her dorm message board and stabbing her carpet with a knife. Cho spent a night at Korean Clinic St. Albans Hospital in Christiansburg. The next day, a special justice deemed him a danger to himself and mandated outpatient treatment. He was assessed at Virginia Tech's Cook Counseling Center, but no follow-up appointment was made, and no one ensured the order was followed. Since he was ordered outpatient treatment instead of being committed, his name wasn't entered into the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, which would have flagged him when purchasing firearms. On April 17, 2006, Cho had a heated argument with an English professor. That autumn, he continued writing violent pieces, one seemingly foreshadowing future events. His parents were unaware of his interactions with mental health services and campus police, remaining oblivious to his severe issues. Cho's various encounters with campus, mental health, judicial, and police departments failed to reveal the full extent of the risks he posed. In early 2007, Cho bought weapons and ammunition, practiced at a shooting range, and avoided police contact. On March 31, 2007, he received a speeding ticket, the same day he bought chains, ammunition, and a hunting knife. First killings. On the early morning of Monday, April 16, 2007, Cho awoke in his dorm room at Harper Hall and spent some time working on his computer. He soon armed himself and headed to West Ambler Johnston Hall, gaining entry by either following a student with a swipe card or slipping in as someone exited. He made his way to the 4th floor. There, he shot Emily Hilscher and Ryan Clark, the resident assistant who came to investigate from the neighboring room. Police arrived within 10 minutes but found no witnesses. Cho's escape was marked by a trail of bloody footprints. Hilscher succumbed to her injuries after being taken to Carilion Roanoke Memorial Hospital in Roanoke, while Clark died en route to Montgomery Regional Hospital, later Louis Gale Hospital Montgomery, in Blacksburg. At around 8:15 am, Hilscher's roommate returned to the dormitory and was questioned by the police. She mentioned that Hilscher had just come back from spending the weekend with her boyfriend, Carl Thornhill, who was a student at nearby Radford University. When asked, she stated that there were no known issues between Hilscher and Thornhill, although she did mention that he owned a gun for target practice. The police identified Thornhill as a person of interest, mistakenly focusing on a domestic violence theory. Meanwhile, Thornhill learned from the roommate's boyfriend about the shooting and rushed to Virginia Tech. However, police stopped him just off campus at around 9:24 am after conducting a field test for gunshot residue. Officers quickly left to respond to reports of additional shootings at Norris Hall. Mass murder. After killing Hilscher and Clark, Cho returned to his dormitory by 7:17 am and changed out of his bloody clothes. He deleted emails and wiped the university account from his computer before removing the hard drive, which, along with his cell phone, was never found. Just before 9 am, Cho mailed a package from the downtown Blacksburg post office to NBC News in New York. The package contained videos, writings, and photographs of himself. He also sent an angry letter to Virginia Tech's English department, detailing his grievances with a professor. Armed with a 9mm Glock, a .22 caliber Walther pistol, and a backpack filled with ammunition, Cho chained shut the 3 entrances of Norris Hall from the inside before heading to the second floor. He first targeted room 206, where Professor G.V. Loganathan was teaching an advanced hydrology class. Cho killed Loganathan and 9 others so swiftly that no one had the chance to call the police. He then moved to room 207, where he shot and killed Christopher James Bishop, the instructor of an elementary German class, along with 4 of his students. In room 205, students and teaching assistant Haiyan Cheng managed to barricade the door and fend off Cho twice, even as he fired through the barricade and attempted to enter. In room 211, Jocelyn Kochanowak, an intermediate French instructor, briefly stepped into the hall before instructing the student, Colin Goddard, to call 911. His call reached the Blacksburg police about a minute after the shooting started. Cho soon forced his way past the teacher and students trying to barricade the door. In 2 assaults on the room, he killed the instructor and 11 students. Goddard was shot while on his cell phone, which flew from his hand to Emily Haas. Despite being grazed twice in the head by gunfire, Haas managed to keep the line open with the police. Both Goddard and Haas survived the attack. In room 204, Professor Livia Librescu, a 76-year-old Holocaust survivor, heroically blocked the door to protect his students, allowing them to escape through the windows of their solid mechanics class. During this act of bravery, Cho shot and killed him. Meinl Hirilal Panchal, a graduate student who stayed behind to ensure others' safety, was also killed by Cho. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor, Professor Kevin P. Granata from the Engineering Science and Mechanics Department secured his students in his office before heading to the 2nd floor to help. Tragically, he was fatally shot in the hallway. Already present on campus due to the earlier dormitory shootings, the police responded immediately. When their initial attempt to break through one entrance failed, they gained access by firing a single shotgun blast into a locked but unchained maintenance door. As they entered, Cho returned to the French classroom one last time and took his own life in front of the room. This occurred around 9:51 am, roughly 10 minutes after the first 911 call. The governor's report highlighted that the swift police response saved lives. Despite Cho having fired 174 rounds, officers found over 200 unused rounds, including 2 loaded 9mm magazines each holding 15 cartridges. University's early response. Virginia Tech President Charles Steger learned about the shootings around 8:10 am. By 8:25 am, he and top officials, the policy group, gathered to coordinate the response. While some units and local schools locked down early, the university remained open. Between 8:45 and 8:49 am, a policy group member warned a colleague of a gunman on the loose and advised secrecy. At 9:26 am, the university sent a vague warning about a shooting incident. A second email at 9:50 am warned of a gunman and advised staying indoors. Critics questioned the delay, especially since classes had been cancelled before due to a nearby threat. Aftermath. On April 18, NBC News aired a video made by Cho, revealing that many faculty, students, and staff were aware of his mental health issues. In the video, Cho praised the Columbine shooters and condemned the wealthy, declaring, "Now you have blood on your hands that will never wash off. Images showed him in a shooter's vest, arms outstretched, holding semi-automatic pistols. By the week's end, Governor Kaine appointed W. Gerald Massengill to lead an 8-person panel to review the shootings and responses and make recommendations before the 2007 to 2008 school year. On April 30, 2007, Kaine signed an order closing the loophole that kept Cho's name off the firearm background check registry. The panel's report on August 29, 2007, criticized Virginia Tech's delayed warning, police's focus on a mistaken lead and lack of support for victims' families, and recommended mental health system improvements and better information sharing under privacy laws. The General Assembly enacted reforms, including an additional $42 million for the state's mental health system, later reduced during the Great Recession. The state settled with most victims' families and established a family foundation. After the report's release, more details emerged. Virginia Tech's timeline errors and missing records from Cho's counseling sessions were discovered, leading to addendums. The Pride and Peterson families who rejected settlements sued on the second anniversary. In 2012, the jury awarded $4 million each, later reduced to $100,000 due to a state cap. In 2013, the Virginia Supreme Court ruled the university wasn't obligated to warn about third-party acts. Virginia Tech also paid reduced Clery Act fines without admitting violations. What are your thoughts on Virginia Tech tragedy? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.